William Blake was an English poet, painter, and printmaker. Blake is now considered a seminal figure in the history of English poetry. He was born in London. He was a boldly imaginative rebel in both his thought and his art. Some of his famous poems are The Lamb and the Tiger. Poison Tree is a poem about hate and anger. In this poem, William Blake tells the reader how important it is to be honest about one's emotions. The narrator of the poem is a very hateful man. He is angry with his enemy and keeps his anger locked up inside. But his anger grows until one day his anger kills his enemy. A poison tree. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I stunned it with my smiles, and with soft, deceitful white. It grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright, and my foe behind it shine, and he knew that it was mine. Into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. The narrator is angry with a friend, but when he tells his friend, the anger goes away. The narrator is also angry with an enemy, but in this case he says nothing, so the anger grows and grows. The narrator describes how he watered or fed his anger. He cried tears of either rage or sadness. His anger is constant every night and every morning. His anger and frustration is still there. It never disappears. However, he did not show his anger. On the outside, he pretended to be happy by smiling at his foe. He became quite skilled and cunning at deceiving his enemy. The narrator describes how his anger grew until one day it bore fruit. The narrator uses the image of a growing tree as a metaphor for his growing anger. His enemy sees the beautiful apple that has grown and becomes jealous. He wants to take the apple that belongs to the narrator. At night, when it is completely dark, the enemy sneaks into the narrator's garden and steals his apple. However, the enemy did not realize that the apple was poisonous. After eating the apple, the enemy dies. In the morning, the narrator is happy to discover that his enemy lies dead beneath the apple tree. Conclusion. William Blake's A Poison Tree is a poem which describes the feeling, especially anger for someone who's friend or foe. From the analysis, we can learn about controlling anger within ourselves. When we are not pleased with someone's attitude, we might tell it instead of letting it be still in our heart, so it will not annoy. Telling the truth about your feeling is more release than keep it. In this poem, Blake describes a condition where keeping the anger will give bad result, when you might think that it is fine, but you do not have any idea about the future. The wrath might come and attack you in the future, and it makes you want to make revenge.